Monday, December 21st. There is the closing bell, guys, with the S&Ps closing down about 15 points to start this short week of trade. I got a lot to go over today, so let's dive right in, break this market down, and then go over the top 3 stocks of the day. We'll start with the S&P futures, guys, and we're getting some buying coming into the close, finishing the futures down about 25 points, with the SPX down about 15 points. Now, when we zoom out a bit and we take a look at the night session, we got a stimulus deal passed over the weekend. So what happened at the 6 p.m. open? Well, we got a huge pop that was short-lived, and we got whacked back down. We consolidated most of the night till about 2 in the morning, dropping into the European Open, and then again at about 4:30, down over 100 points, only to bounce around 35.96, which was our 2 standard deviation move on the week in the SPX. You can't see it here in the futures, but when we take a look at the SPX, we can see we came into this week with about 57 points of expected move. Now, 2 standard deviations down would be 114 points. That would put us around, what is that number? 35.96, which is right around where we bounced in the night session in the futures. We zoom in a bit, and you can see we opened in the cash session. We fell really hard, guys, but only to be caught by this lower edge of the expected move. Now, what does that mean? We have a play of the day today, guys, and where would we have taken this shot? None other than the SPY, because it expires today. So we go over to the SPY, and where would we have taken our shot? Well, you can see the line isn't on the SPY, but we would have targeted a 364 call. The reason being, at that moment in time, around 10:30, that was the closest option to a 50 delta. So we go to the trade tab, we look for the 364, we copy this call in, let's paste it in, and let's take a look at this thing. Now, we would have got in for about $1. So you're paying $1, risk reward. The most you can lose on this thing is $1, and you want to be out of it by the bell. Now, what happened? We bounced off this expected move, and we just roared up over $3.50. We hit 472 as a high. This is a great risk reward, and this is why I want to show you the plays of the day. On a 0 expiring option, the gamma is very high, which means the delta price is going to fluctuate a lot, which in turn basically means the option is going to move up or down very fast. And today, this closed at 390. So that's an amazing risk reward if you ask me. But let's move on and take a look at the Nasdaq and see how technology's doing today. We see today the Nasdaq's down about 0.25%. It was quiet, looks very similar to the S&P. Huge smacks down and aggressive moves up. We take a look at it on the daily. It's wicking. It wasn't our worst performing index. The S&Ps were, and the S&Ps got its first day of Tesla trading in them. But when we compare the Nasdaq to our Big 5, what do we see here, guys? The Big 5 is up 0.3%. So the Big 5 is actually helping the Nasdaq, and it's doing its best to help the SPX. Even though the SPX is down, we're seeing a lot of help from Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google, with Facebook being down and Tesla on the first day of trade in the S&P 500. It's down over 6%, but with a market cap of over $600 billion, it's trying to play with the big boys. Let's move on over and take a look at the small caps and see how they're doing today. We see that the Russell is now green on the day, fluctuating about flat now. These are Russell futures, a very sizable wick here on the day. And the small caps got whacked hard. I got out of my put in the IWM right at the open. I'm glad I did, because it coasted higher as the day advanced. Now, why are these small caps up so much? Well, when we take a look at some of the sectors, the financials are up 1.35%. Bigger picture, it's consolidating here, but what happened right after my video posted on Friday, at 4:30, the Federal Reserve announced a stress test on these banks, and they passed with flying colors. What did they say? Well, they're now able to buy back stock. So we're seeing all these financials up. JP Morgan's, Bank of America, Citigroup, Morgan Stanley, you name it. All these financials are doing very well together, and they're helping the small caps advance today. Now, when we look across at other sectors, well, we see technology up and software up. So those are our 3 sectors are up. What's taking it hard today? Well, the energy sector is getting beat up a sizable amount, down almost 2%, and the utilities are taking it pretty hard. Now, when we take a look at our advanced decline line, we see 27 advancing and 74 declining. This is in the S&P 100, and you see Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Capital One, Citigroup, Bank of America, all these banks are doing very well today. And add in some of our big five. So they're helping keeping things intact, but the S&Ps are taking it very hard today, largely due to Tesla. So with the financials up a decent amount, how did our bonds do today? And we take a look at the 30-year and we see it's up with the financials about 0.29%, but it's a sizable wick. We zoom in on this thing and the bonds erupted. When we saw that equity bloodbath, the bonds rose, which makes sense. However, once the bell opened, the bonds retreated and retreated fast. We're seeing a little bid right now in the final minutes of this trading session, but the bonds in the bigger picture are trying to hang in there, but they're just going down. Now, on a day like today, we want to turn to volatility and see what the volatility index is telling us. And we see that the VIX futures today are up about 8.7%. It's got a nice volume coming in it, but it's wicking. We look at it on the day, we got a really nice bid when we were falling. And then again, right at the open, we faded, and we're trying to get some of that back in the final close. We're up on the day, to say the least. When we look at the VVIX, guys, the VVIX measures the volatility of the volatility. Got smacked really hard down, and we're getting some bids into the final minutes of trade here. This could mean that the selling isn't quite just over yet. We could see some more selling going into tomorrow. We'll see how things trade, but when you look at the VIX on the bigger picture, look at that sizable wick. It's a nice short here. If you were able to get in, I don't think there was a shot right at the open. You could have gotten a short up here in the VIX, because ultimately the VIX should come back down. This could be another day of volatility on the rise. Let's move on over and take a look at the dollar index and see what the dollar's up to today. And we can see the dollar is up 0.17%, but look at this wick. This is an aggressive move in the dollar. We take a look at it. Dollar got a nice pop. So when we saw equity selling off, the dollar had a nice bid underneath it, but whacked right down as the day progressed. How does that do for gold? Well, gold's down about $7 on the day at 1880. We broke 1900 in the night session, guys, but it was short-lived. Came back down. Pretty volatile moving gold, but the bigger picture here, the metals, they want to go higher. You can even just see silver is actually up on the day, 1.5%. And silver's hanging in there pretty nicely. Now we move on to Bitcoin, guys, and Bitcoin put in a new high, 24.2K, but Bitcoin is down, to say the least, and it's going to get volatile. Bitcoin sold off with the market here, guys. You can see that goes to show us nothing is safe when everyone is just running to the door to sell. They'll sell everything. However, that's great times to get into things. Now, bigger picture here, the 23rd, I think there's going to be some big moves between the 23rd to Christmas. We're going to see bigger moves here in Bitcoin. It could be a flush down, or that could be another leg higher, but buckle up, guys. It's going to get crazy here in Bitcoin. There you have it, guys, for the stock market breakdown. Guys, we had some good news over the weekend. We got the stimulus deal passed, which means we should be seeing a direct deposit into our bank accounts by next week of $600. Could that mean another round for Robinhooders of buying calls and pushing stocks higher? We'll see what comes up. But ultimately, on days like today, seeing bloodbaths, seeing a lot of red on your screen, it's good to get in there and buy some quality names on sale, guys, because in the bigger picture, we're not going to stop printing. We're going to keep printing it, especially when Biden takes over. We're going to have more deals, more money printing, devaluing the currency, making the metals rise, and ultimately that money is forced to go into equities because the Federal Reserve has said it. They don't want to raise rates till at least through 2023. So where do you have to put your money? In stocks, guys. So what's up today? The big five's up. The quality household names that aren't going anywhere are up, and up just nicely. Let's take a look at the top 3 stocks of the day, guys, and see what we have. So we go to the scan tab, we hit the scan button, and here is our list of 17 stocks. Coming in at the number 3 stock of the day goes to RealPage Inc. Today, RealPage is up 28% on the day with a market cap of $8.9 billion. On a year-to-date, RealPage is up close to 60%. Now, what does RealPage do? Well, RealPage is an American multinational corporation that provides property management software for multifamily, commercial, and single-family and vacation rental housing industries. Now, this is a big move today, big volume as well coming into this stock. And why is it up? Well, today, Thoma Bravo agrees to buy RealPage for $9.6 billion, paying $88.75 per share. So we got an initial pop, and it's kind of calming down around that price where it's going to be sold for. Now, when we throw it on an expected move, we're not going to see much on this thing. It erupted higher, and it's being bought by somebody. I don't know if the guy is taking it private, but it should hang out around this price if it's going to be bought for about $88.75 a share. I don't see much in this stock going forward. Coming in at the number 2 stock of the day goes to Editas Medicine. Editas today is up close to 30% on the day with a market cap of $5.2 billion. Editas has made the top stock of this list before. We look at it on a year to date, it's up over 184%. Now, what does Editas do? Well, they're a leading genome editing company focused on translating the power and potential of the CRISPR. Now, this is another sizable move to be made today. Why is it up? Well, a lot of biotech stocks with the focus of CRISPR gene editing have delivered some solid gains today, with Edit leading the way. Let's take a look at it on an expected move. And we take a look at this thing. We came into this week expecting $5.63 of move. Now, a 3 sigma move puts us at about 81.42, which we're slightly higher than that, and a 4 sigma takes us to 87.05. Now, what makes the most sense? Well, we take a closer look at this thing, and it's slowly fading to that 3 sigma move, around $81.42. My guess is, since a broad-based rally in all genome editing companies, I would like to see this thing come down a little bit after the excitement calms, but this is some big volume coming in here. Bigger picture, this could be gearing up for just a breakout and to go higher. At $5 billion, it's not that big of a company, but it could keep on growing, guys, especially with these market conditions we're in. But maybe look for this thing to cool down a bit. Look for it to maybe touch about 81.50 before going higher, or maybe having trouble at 87.05. Coming in at the number 1 stock of the day goes to NantKwest Inc. NantKwest today is up 56% on the day with a market cap of $1.7 billion. On a year to date, it's up 304%. Now, what does this company do? Well, it's an immunotherapy company focused on harnessing the power of the immune system by using the natural killer cell to treat cancer, infectious, and inflammatory diseases. Now, this stock is up a lot today, and why? Well, they have 2 news announcements. One is a stock-for-stock merger agreement, and it also announced that its IL-15 fusion protein has passed muster in phase 2 and 3 trial for patients. So it's a breakthrough in the trials stages, and it's getting a nice flow of volume coming into it. We look how it traded today. It got a second wind around lunchtime. Maybe got mentioned on CNBC potentially at 12, but it kind of faded. We take a look at it on an expected move, guys. We're coming into this week with just a $1.09. $1.09 is a small move, and we're seeing roughly 5 standard deviations. Well, 6 standard deviations would take us to about 1680, and I don't know how far we can go. Now, this is a pretty big news in it. It's hard to cap something like this, but you can see it faded. It might just hang out in this area. Don't know too much about this company, but also look for this double top up here, this 1550 range. That could play a nice role of support. It could come down and test this top we had back in August and July area before going higher, but it's up a lot to say the least. There you have it, guys, for the stock market breakdown. Did you get a chance to watch any of these stocks today? If not, what are some tickers that you're looking at going into tomorrow? Now, if you watch this far, guys, I really appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up button. It means a lot to me when I see you guys liking my content I put out. And also, if this is your first time watching me, guys, I do these every single day. Show some love, hit that subscribe button. It will really make my day as well. But you have any constructive criticism, any feedback, anything to improve my channel, I'd love to hear it, guys. Leave a comment down below. But on that note, guys, I will see you in tomorrow. Have a great night. Take care. Peace.